We're now looking at part 2 of our YouTube video, what we're trying to share with you as a new concept. And what I want to do is go back to the whiteboard and look at our mission statement with you very quickly. Our mission statement talks about the fact that we want to honor the Word, the inerrant, infallible Word of God, and our mission statement says that we want to equip laity and pastors for kingdom's work. And I want to walk through that. First of all, we have been already in process, been trying to take our Bible school students through our summer team work and utilizing them and to bring them into a training called parish building. We have found that this training is unique, it's practical, and it's very, very usable. Our parish builders are telling us from the field that this material has changed their focus, it's changed their ideas of how to do ministry. We've had 3 couples, husband and wife teams that have come through. All of them have stated that taking this training has really made a difference in their personal lives. Even one couple saying it's changed their marriage because they're on the same page, they're understanding, and they're understanding where they were in some of the relationships they were previous. So that we are doing the equipping of laity in the parish building. We are also doing some training with our pastors. We've done this with Pastor Jim Rasmussen and Alan Munson and I, going out and doing training on the local congregational level. That's been very effective as well. Plus we've had the Home Mission Pastors Retreat. But that is not enough. We have to be more intentional, more deliberate, that our pastors are getting the training that they need to become disciple-making pastors, so we have disciple-making churches. What is our kingdom's work as we think about it? Well, it's the establishing of free and living congregations. That's our goal. So that the free and living congregations are just that, engaging culture, and their people from their congregation are making a difference at work, play, wherever they are, bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ in. Now, as we take a look at our current practice of how we've been establishing churches, we first look for people that are hopefully Christian, hopefully Lutheran, hopefully understanding the AFLC principles. We help them get a constitution. We oftentimes move as quickly as we can to get the legal structure taken care of so that they've got their 501c3, they've got their identification number, federal ID number, so they can get their bank account and all these things. And oftentimes, although this is not what we want to see happen, but after the Constitution is completed, now they're trying to fill positions. And sometimes people that aren't qualified get slipped into a position. What have we done? We have just now sabotaged the future of that church by having the wrong people, wrong motives, wrong attitudes, wrong spirit in leadership that are making decisions for the whole congregation. Home missions, we have had that happen as well. As a result of that, we then end up with issues, we end up with problems, and we end up frustrated, and we squander our resources, and there's problems for the Home Missions Committee and the Home Missions Director. So, the last thing that we often try to do is, after we got the structure of the congregation going, is we then try to equip the people that we've gathered. Does it sometimes happen? Yes. But sometimes it doesn't happen, and then you've got a group of people in leadership that are not unified, of one purpose and one mind. The enemy uses that then to sabotage that whole congregation. And we've had congregations literally explode because, or not grow, because of this concept. So, what we have then, and when you take a look at the video that we're going to be sending you, the DVD, we've got hitchhikers and the Christians that are oftentimes in leadership. And we do not see the disciple makers. And as a result of that, we sometimes get growing congregations, but we sometimes are creating congregations that are destined to fail. And I hate to admit that, but that's what we've seen. We have a new idea, a new beginning concept. And what we are thinking about doing here, and this is what we're laying at your feet for you as a Home Missions Committee to consider. We have stumbled on this as we've been working with the Hastings Assembly. Let me say it right. The Hastings Assembly. The Hastings Assembly is called a gathering. The gathering has biblical connotations into the Greek, meaning it's a group of Christians. We are thinking about this concept. What would happen, going back to our equipping and laity training, if we slowed the process of establishing congregations down and rather had new beginnings of gatherings in the home in which there was intentional disciple making in place? No time limit, no pressure, but rather letting them develop and grow and take the responsibility and also the financial responsibility of that group in a powerful way. And they would have AFLC distinctives, they'd have clear goals and training. Now let me just go up here and say, this would not be like a home church. Now, we have had successful home churches, but many of them are unsuccessful. And let me just share a couple of reasons why. The home church movement, first of all, oftentimes can come from a home or a homeschooling background, which is kind of in some ways anti-government, anti-establishment, and oftentimes they have a bunker down attitude where they're just going to become a greenhouse and not want to reach culture and community. That's a direct violation of the command in Matthew 28, where we're to go and make disciples. So we don't want that to happen. But if we have gatherings that have a purpose, intentional disciple making with the goal of becoming an established and free and living congregation, that eliminates one of the problems that the home church has had. A second problem the home church has is that homeschooling families come from different church backgrounds and they can't decide, if I'm a Lutheran or I'm a Baptist or I'm a Presbyterian, my Assembly of God. With the gatherings that we would have with the AFLC principles, the fundamental principles, the inerrant Word of God, that would eliminate that issue because they would be a part of the fellowship of the AFLC. And these gatherings then would have a goal. There wouldn't be a time limit, but there would be a process as God allowed them to grow and develop that they would want to be a part of a living congregation and be adding more people to this. And so we would see then that these gatherings could be a stepping stone into the establishment of disciples and building our congregations then more on a discipleship base instead of just a gathering of people base. We think it's important that we go back and take a hard look at this concept. Now, let me just say something else here. If we have gatherings taking place, let's use Minneapolis, or let's use Mesa, or let's use Camarillo, any three of those areas. In Minneapolis, we have the home mission staff. In Mesa, we have Al Munson and his staff, and parish builders, by the way. And in Camarillo, we've got Pastor Jim and his staff and the parish builders. What they could easily do is start gatherings around their area and once a month bring these gatherings into a church setting where they can have fellowship, have a meal, potluck meal, pass a dish meal. They could have incredible music and then have a solid hour and 15 minutes of biblical teaching in the area of discipleship. They could catch the holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, and they could also these groups then would see that they're a part of something a lot larger, and with them going to an established free living congregation, that being their goal, that would also provide energy and connectiveness with the mother church that's sponsoring that event, and it could actually help us see more churches grow in a smoother biblical fashion. And we also see, and this is the last point that I want to bring here, I'm working with Micah Horniman and asking the question, if we were to do this in Minneapolis, if we were to have 7 or 8 different gatherings, and if we brought our parish builders in, so the 5, 6, 7 of them that are considering seminary, why not have them work with different gatherings throughout the Minneapolis area? We bring those gatherings together, and you know what we do? We can meet up at the chapel, and we could put those gatherings right on the internet. So if there's a smaller group in Houston, a smaller group on the East Coast, or any place worldwide where there would be a group of people that wanted to connect with AFLC Home Missions, they would have a worship service that they could be a part of using technology. But at this point, this is what we want to share with you concerning these new ideas.